So forgive me for not wanting to have any contact with that woman because it's not just I don't like her. It absolutely enrages me for someone to look at me and look down their nose at me and say that I'm a nut job and crazy, when if I had listened to them, my son probably would have been raped and kidnapped if I hadn't stood up to those people at the Hamilton. I didn't ever slam doors. I didn't say a cross word to anybody. My son and I made sure we didn't talk to anybody. And, you see people playing games with you like that. That's what you have to do. I gotta sit here and wait for my radiator to cool. So, I see her and I think about the fact that she's got 2 children. And, I love my son. And it makes me so angry to think that somebody like that is going to sit back and be treated as though they're credible and be treated as though they have good judgment in what they say with their best big girl voice, no doubt, to appear to be credible and legitimate. That somebody like that who's done the things that I say jeopardized my son's safety by allowing these types of things to go on, and fed me and my son 2 dogs that she treated like were just strays that she had to feed or something. They gave me some clothes, black pants, and shirts. All the shirts were low cut, too low cut, so that my breast tissue was visible. I got rid of the shirts. I think I kept the black pants. So they get their funding from some resource, and being in the situation that we're in right now, anybody will help. Anybody will help. You should take their help, right? She coughed once, and I was supposed to go back and speak to her. She waited till I drove past her to do it, though, and even did it lowly, so I couldn't hear her. So, to sit back and play games like that with me, when, seriously, if I trusted that woman again, there is no telling what would happen next if she's going to treat a fugitive pedophile that raped a child as credible. That just makes my skin crawl. It makes not just my skin crawl, it makes me feel like running in the opposite direction because of that. And, you want to sit back and characterize my behavior as intrinsic mental illness when the stressors that I've already described were what I was experiencing in my son as well at the hands of people like her. Maybe it's not mental illness. Maybe it's, gee, you shouldn't do this to somebody and expect them to act like everything is okay, because it's not. And people who go through stuff like that are walking through minefields, and that's what Jake and I had to walk through there, and that's what we go through. And it appears to me, based on the fact that Shreveport Police Squad car was out there meeting Jan every day, and she was lying, trying to say that she was providing me with heroin. That woman who, Gary's girlfriend, she was asking me, she told me she said, give me your food stamp card. I'll go buy groceries. I can cook your son's food. No, thank you, no. I don't think so. I'd see her, and she'd just kind of nod at me or something, and she'd go take a bus or something, and she'd come back with cases of beer. She'd never buy beer for me. I didn't give her money to buy beer. I didn't give her permission to. She never spent a dime on me and Jake, and none of them ever did. Nobody's ever bought beer for me. I don't approve people buying alcohol and all this kind of stuff. It's nothing but defamation. And it appears to me that the Shreveport Police Department was suborning perjury. Either they're too incompetent to verify the credibility of people who say these types of things. Obviously, there's very, very different testimony available um, than what these people said there at the Hamilton, and refusing to allow me to testify is just a way of keeping me from testifying. I've never been invited to testify. I've never failed to participate in any investigation or me or my son. I've begged informants, police officers, to tell me. I've gone to the state police and begged. I called the district attorney's office and begged on the phone. They just put me on hold for 30, 40 minutes till my cell phone time went up and I couldn't talk to him anymore. So it's a way of suborning perjury. It's a way of treating people who have no credibility as though they are, saying that only their testimony was available and that it should be treated as truthful. My answer to that is, if you don't have the testimony of all parties involved, then you have an incomplete record. Whether or not that person chose to testify, I believe in regular district court or criminal cases, if you're supposed to testify, that you have to, that a judge can issue a warrant for your arrest. Or, I don't know if that's true, maybe not, but I'm not a lawyer. I know in criminal cases, like in the mafia, for example, if people are supposed to be testifying against somebody in the mafia, that the mafia will try to kill them before they show up for court, because if they testify, then the mafia people will go to jail. So they, the mafia will kill them before they make it to court if they can. So the police have to put them in protective custody and stuff. So it is a violation of the Constitution to refuse to allow somebody to testify on their own behalf. Because those are constitutional rights that everybody has. That every person has a right to testify on their own behalf and to confront their accusers and provide evidence in their own behalf. And right to a speedy trial. The stuff at the Hamilton, that happened in 2010. This is 2014 now. So you're talking about 4 years of hell of the same games. And don't tell me that this is just, people say all this and there's no harm to it. No, there is harm to it. I've had to defend myself and my son, and I protected my son from being, subjected to terrible experiences that would have marred his life forever. Not saying that the experiences we went through weren't bad enough, but the church recommended the Hamilton to me, and that group, Christian Services, sat there and let Ralph say all that about me and Jake and kicked me in the street. Why did he kick me and Jake in the street? Because it wasn't working. Because his credibility and this little game that was going on wasn't working anymore. And that it was obvious, it wasn't just obvious, but I think that there was enough evidence that was coming to the fore to prove that what was going on, and that the people doing all this and saying all this were all lying. And that's usually what happens, that it gets to that point, and gee, it's not fun to play anymore. It's always fun to play till it costs you something, isn't it? When it costs you something, like the fact that you could go to jail for perjury, or suborning perjury if you're a police officer, then it's not fun anymore, is it? So, Jake and I are not guilty. We're not guilty. We've never been guilty of any type of illegal behavior. Pedophilia is never anything that I have ever been engaged in. That is so bizarre to me. I'd rather be accused of being a terrorist than a pedophile. I mean, pedophiles are the worst people on the face of the earth. But every week now you see them in the paper being announced as moving into neighborhoods, and 30-day sentence for carnal knowledge of a juvenile, stuff like that. It's stuff that they shouldn't get in jail for the rest of their lives for. So,